You guys play much co-op games this year?
Not really.
I played a game called Peak.
Oh, okay. I play Peak too, but we can talk about it a bit. One of the interesting co-op games I played this year was Nightreign.
No, after Elden Ring
Yeah.
and then Shadow of the Erd Tree, I was
Yeah.
burnt out. I was like,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't want to even touch anything Souls after that.
Yeah, I feel like you know how it's structurally how it's structured, right? It's kind of like a Fortnite type of battlefield where you're dropped into a random part of the map, and then you're just going through area to area, beating various bosses, collecting the various items or spells, and then as time goes on, like the area that you can traverse slowly shrinks until you go fight a big boss at the end, and it repeats this 3 times through 3 nights until you fight the actual boss. So it's sort of like that. Okay. What's interesting to me is like in Elden Ring, you basically create your own character, right? And then decide what type of class you want that character to be and what type of weapon you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
In Nightreign, you have like a various characters to choose from, with each having their own type of strengths and weaknesses. Like each character having like being very proficient at using this type of weapon, and another character having certain stats that make it more ideal to be a mage or more ideal to be a filthy dex user. Filthy dex user. I know who you are, Rivers of Blood players. But along with having unique stat lines and proficiencies, each character also have their own unique ability you can use. Like the Executioner got this very unique parry ability, where they're the only characters who can parry at all times, since they carry an extra katana in them they can use. As well as they have like there's an actual like super mechanic where you can do an ultimate attack, and for the Executioner he turns into this giant werewolf animal where he could just go all out until like his time is up. And then you got like the Recluse, which is the character I play a lot, where she's very magic focused. She can use any type of spell in the game with equal proficiency, and her special ability allows her to, after she uses a spell on an enemy and it hits, she's able to absorb some of their mana to replenish her own mana scores, which allows her to be a very proficient using magic for the long term, which not many of the other magic users can do. And her special allows her to basically mark an enemy, which allows them to get hit harder, as well as allow any party member or yourself to hit them and gain back mana. And then you got the Revenant, who's basically a sword, like specializes in face spells, but who's also predominantly a summoner, where she can summon various spectral beings to help you. So like every character has a unique play style that does make them really fun to play around with. And the way how Nightreign plays, I think like it's not really a game you can play with randos without getting mad, I think. Because like you're trying to route out your path to think what is the best way to route out so I can get maybe I should route going to the fire fortresses so I can actually use get fire weapons to use against the boss. But then if you have some random just does whatever he does, and then you don't have enough people to beat the boss more easily, that can ruin the run. Because like the bosses are like the main problem with Nightreign bosses, at least for the first 3 nights, isn't that if you can beat them or not. It's if how many you can beat them in a row in order to get the various interesting RNG buffs you can get to strengthen yourself for the big boss at the end of night 3. Like This is why, like, there's this big set piece castle in a particular map where if you go down into the basement, and it's kind of RNG what type of boss you counter, but if you see the bell bearing hunter there, everybody just bolts it out like, no, I'm not gonna fight him. Yeah, I'm not gonna fight him. For one, like, he hits really hard for some reason. But for two, he takes way too long. So it's more proficient to just go somewhere else and fight other forts. Even though he does drop like a really good weapon, or he could drop a really good weapon. But yeah. And it being a roguelike, there is elements of RNG into it. Because like when you spawn in, you basically only have the basics. So you have to gather various weapons and spells through the various bosses and equipment or chests you find throughout the overworld. So all this combined together does make it a very fast-paced game to play through each round, I think. Which is interesting. Like, it's a very different type of experience compared to playing Elden Ring and normal Souls game, I think.
I'm glad you had fun with it.
I had fun with it. I mostly played with my friends, so like I didn't have to deal with randos, you know.
Yeah, I'm just burnt out.
Yeah.
On Elden Ring, period.
If there is one thing against Nightreign, I would say it's like, despite it being a roguelike and there being RNG elements to it, the RNG elements doesn't really change how the round goes, really. Like I play Recluse, and she's much more prone to being RNG based because like she's a magic user, and since weapons are random, the spells you get are random, so there is more chance for me to getting a bad spell list just because of that. Compared to just a melee character where, yeah, you might not be able to get a good, like, the best weapon, but you can at least still use its moveset well, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, but like, the RNG-ness doesn't really change much in Nightreign, just because like, most of the RNG is like the type of bosses that you can encounter. And like, the more truly RNG moments, like there is a chance where Margot can appear out of nowhere and just screw with you, but that doesn't really happen that much. But yeah, overall, I really like Nightreign.